Welcome to This Week in Westerly with your host, Michael Niemeyer.
Good morning. Welcome to This Week in Westerly. My name is Michael Niemeyer. Thank you for spending your morning with us. It's a beautiful morning out here. Depending on how you reckon time, this is either the late summer or early autumn. Given that I've been waiting for autumn since last December, I'm going to call this the start of autumn, and I'm very excited for autumn. Autumn's my favorite season. It has some of the best holidays. It has Halloween and Thanksgiving. It has some of the best food, pumpkin pie and caramel apples, not to mention all the Halloween candy, to get back to that. But I'm just so excited for autumn, and I hope it's a good autumn for Westerly. Let's go over a little bit of the news around town. The Westerly Education Center is having another vaccine clinic for anyone who wants a booster or their first shot or their second shot or wherever you are in that process. We have a link for you here. That's qrco.de/Westerly97. I believe we're going to put it down in the bubble down there. It is on September 7th from 3 to 6 p.m. on 23 Friendship Street. The Westerly Education Center is having another vaccine clinic. There it is. Go check it out. Another big thing that's happening coming up is the Summer Pops. We are having the Summer Pops here in Westerly. It is a time-honored Westerly tradition, one of my favorite things we do here in town. Even when I lived over in Hope Valley, I would always come down to Westerly to check out the Summer Pops. It is a one-of-a-kind celebration. That is on September 11th at 7 p.m. with a pre-show at 5:15 p.m. It's over there in Wilcox Park. They advised the Chorus of Westerly, they're the ones who put it on, they advised putting your blanket down on September 10th. So go ahead and get your spot on September 10th. So that you have a wonderful place to be to go and check out the Summer Pop September 11th at 7 p.m. And speaking of things coming back, getting back into the swing of things, school starts on September 7th. So I wanted to give a big congratulations to all of the students starting on September 7th. I know some of them, like my daughter, have been itching to get back to hanging out with other kids and getting back to learning. Let's wish all of our learners a wonderful, wonderful return to school on September 7th. Well, that's the news I have here in Westerly. But now we get to talk to someone who's very special to Westerly. She's the president of the Ocean Community Chamber of Commerce and the Ocean Community Chamber Foundation. She has been vital to the economic health of Westerly throughout this pandemic and for years before. We're so lucky to have her, and I'm so lucky to talk to her this morning. Lisa Konicki, thank you for joining us.
Good morning. Happy to be here.
Well, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, actually. Yeah, it's a gorgeous summer day. I'm going to get to go to the beach a little bit later today and maybe do a little yard work and enjoy this awesome community that we live in, because it's the best time of year, isn't it?
It definitely is. This transition from summer to autumn, the weather's just perfect. You can go to the beach. You could have you can go to Clyde's cider mill and have a donut there. You can kind of do whatever you want. I love it.
And it's less crowded, which is nice too.
Yeah. We disagreed a little bit on the reckoning of time. You called it the summer. I called it early autumn.
You're more technically correct, but if I can still put a bathing suit on and feel that sun on my shoulders and lay out on the beach, and to me, I'm going to call it the endless summer and go with that.
Nice. I like it. All righty. Well, I wanted to check in with you. I know that it's been we had a recovery going. Things started getting a little tough again. What's the local business situation like?
Everyone's holding their own. It's obviously Westerly in general has had a spike in COVID cases, which is of great concern. to both residents as well as businesses. But the businesses now, after more than a year enduring this scenario, they know how to handle the situation. They've, ratcheted down again. They've worked with their employees on all of the CDC guidelines and restrictions, and they're safe as ever. We haven't had any businesses in Westerly close recently related to this, so they all seem to be managing through the ongoing challenges that persist from the pandemic.
Gotcha. Well, that's good to hear that they're persevering. What are you looking for in the next coming months in terms of things turning around, or help, additional help coming? What are you looking at?
For the chamber or for the business community in general? Because it's two big lists.
Ooh, okay. Well, let's start with the chamber.
All right. So for the chamber, we're going to be returning to the Sunday Fun Day series. This is something that we started last year as a challenge, basically, at the time, by Governor Raimondo, who was in charge, who said she was challenging communities to take it outside. In other words, conduct business outside, encourage more activities outside, still, of course, honoring social distancing rules so that we slow the spread of COVID-19. We took that call to arms and said, what can we do here in Westerly to keep commerce alive, to support the small business community, to still make things fun for those of us who live here? And we put together our first ever Sunday Fun Day series. It was really popular. We had music. We had all the restaurants and cigar shops and wineries and retail stores take their business on High Street in Westerly and literally bring it out into the streets so that customers could use High Street as a pedestrian mall, if you will, no vehicular traffic whatsoever. And they could buy sweaters and jewelry from pop-up artist booths or paintings from local artists, and also have a glass of wine from Tapped Apple or a fresh pretzel sandwich from Malted Barley. It was a very mild-mannered, slow but steady stream of foot traffic, outdoor marketplace that everyone loved. So we did it again in the spring, and now we're doing it again this fall. And we're just really grateful to the public that has supported and invested in downtown and spent their money showing the love to these small businesses, and certainly grateful to the sponsors that help make it happen so that we can pay to bring in live entertainment. We've got some quality bands each week.
Can I tell you a little something about the first Sunday Fun Day series? I had been so excited. I'd been dreaming of eating at a restaurant again. I thought I would burst into tears the first time I did it.
Aww.
And the first time I did it was during the Sunday Fun Day series, the first one. I went to Amigos. I had some fish tacos with my daughter and my father, and there were tears in my eyes. It was such a joyous experience. I'm so grateful that you all put that on. The Sunday Fun Day, I'm so glad to hear it's coming back because it really is a great time. It was a really good band. I wish I could remember who it was. I didn't get their name, but they were. It was the last day, Anyway, I'm gonna get myself off topic.
Yeah, I mean, we had that first series. We had about 12 different bands. I think it was Rock and Soul Review is the one you're referring to, but I could be wrong.
Okay,
they're one of the larger groups, like a swing sound to them.
Yep.
And there were people literally dancing in the street.
Yep, they were so good. I love that.
They are. We have a lot of awesome local talent here, so we're happy to be able to support them. Someone else who brings a big crowd, our own homegrown Westerly resident, Kevin Lothar, who's known as Big Lux in the entertainment world. People call and say, what day is Big Lux playing? And they bring their families down. And it's another one of those things that makes my heart feel light when you see moms dancing with their young children in the street. And Big Lux is out there with his violin and his high energy. And he's literally jumping around in the street. And he just brings such an intensity and passion to his performance that you can't help but stop. If you came down for a pretzel or shopping, or you see him, you stop and you listen, and he draws you in. He's awesome. We're so lucky to have that kind of talent here in town.
We're so lucky in terms of our musical scene, our food scene, and it all comes together on Sunday Fun Days. That's wonderful.
Yep. We're psyched. So go to oceanchamber.org starting on Monday, and you'll be able to see the lineup of which bands are playing on which day. And we will also be uploading on Monday to Facebook event details. We've already created an event on Facebook for each one of those, which you can go and like or follow. But as we get closer to the date, because September 26th is the first one, and there'll be 4. So we start on the 26th of September, and our last one is on the 17th. If for some reason it should rain on one of those, then we'll hope to try to expand it one additional week as a makeup, if you will. But check for more details. We would love to see you. It's free admission. You just come down, enjoy the music, and then hopefully, the goal is that you're going to patronize a business or two downtown while you're there.
Well, this is wonderful. Sunday Fun Days. Check it out at the website and at the Facebook page. Speaking of things coming back, there is another celebration coming back of artistry. This is Fusion at the Velvet Mill. Could you tell us a little bit about what's going on there?
Sure. So the Velvet Mill is an old mill that was restored maybe 20 years ago, and it's now the home to restaurants, a brewery, a bake shop, and about 40 artisan studios. So at any given time, artists are there doing everything from pottery making, basket weaving, to, creating beautiful artwork like the piece behind me today. And it's a hub of activity. But what we started 8 years ago is we created the first ever event to be held in the Velvet Mill, which was a way to bring awareness to this awesome facility and all that transpires in the 4 walls of that large building. And it's called Fusion, and it's primarily a body painting event. That is the big draw that people come to see, because it's not the typical type of thing you see. I mean, you might see face painting at a carnival or fair, children's birthday party, but this is full body painting. So these are live volunteer models, regular people like you and me from Westerly, Stonington area who want to check off something fun on their bucket list. And then we get professional artists who volunteer their time, and they come in. They start at 4 in the afternoon, putting a base coat on the bodies and covering, some of the more sensitive areas, so that when the doors open to the public at 7 and you walk into Fusion, it's this incredible experience of seeing art in action, where the palette, the canvas rather, is a human body. And in this case, we'll have about 12 models or so that are doing this. It's not naughty, okay? Yes, these are adults. They're wearing minimal clothing, but by the time the public's let in at 7, there's paint on them, sometimes embellishments like sequins or feathers or other sorts of things. I bring my mother. I wouldn't run an event if it was, extreme raciness. It's not. It's actually gorgeous. And on top of the fantastic process of watching these humans get transformed into living works of art, which range from dragons to butterflies to monsters and everything in between. As you're strolling through this giant mill, watching all this art transpire, there are various food and beverage tables set up where you can have tastings. So you can have beer tastings, wine tastings, samples of great food from restaurants in the 2-state area. So that's obviously super fun. And many of the studios and galleries that call the Velvet Mill home, those artisans are present that night. Their doors are open. You can meet them, see their work, and sometimes see them at work, because it's a showcase for them as well. Valenti's is our sponsor, so we appreciate Valenti's. They'll bring over a couple of cars that'll be there, but they help promote the art, promote this event with us. And then the band Sugar performs live that night for 2.5 hours. So that's sort of the culmination. At the end, we're all on the dance floor. We're all having a great time dancing to some hits that we all know and love growing up with. And even the models who have gotten body painted are out there at that point dancing around on the dance floor. It's a very sort of bizarre, surreal scene. but it's awesome. It's unlike no other event in this community by far.
That is so cool. So it's just to reiterate, not a racy thing, just a celebration of art.
Yeah.
I don't the way you said that. Has someone complained? Someone said something.
They did.
They they did.
No one's ever complained.
Okay, good.
I thought you were saying that someone maybe made a note in the comments on this. I'm like, they did really? The guys wear they're basically in their underwear. They're wearing, boxers that get covered up with paint. And the gals, they're wearing minimal items. They're wearing pasties and, some bikini underwear or G-string or whatever, which again gets completely covered in paint. I think of a woman that was made into a dragon a couple years ago. She had wings that were a 12-foot span off her body that were red. She was a phoenix. And when you walked in, you saw nothing. There's nothing naughty. You're going to see more on Musqueamachet Beach today than you're going to see at this event because it's all covered and tastefully done. But you will see eye-dropping quality art. Someone did a solar system on someone's front and back a couple years ago that was just awesome. I'm trying to think of some of the other ones. Some are tribal. It's a variety. It's all over the place. And we started this after I went to New York City 9 years ago. I think I was with my son. We were walking through Times Square, and a famous artist, Andy Golub, a famous body painting artist, who in the old days used to get arrested for it being nudity. Okay, now it's celebrated, and they pay him to come and do this in the middle of the street. But we saw him in action, and I said, "This is so awesome." We stopped what we were doing in the city, and we stood there for 45 minutes in awe, watching him paint live models. And I said, "We're totally doing this back in our neck of the woods." And I brought a few board members up with me to New York, where we went to another one of Andy's events, and they got it. They saw it right away. And they said, "Yeah, it's beautiful." And it's a great way to promote the Velvet Mill, which really is an incredible arts facility. So yeah, we've had fun doing it.
Wonderful. I don't know how you'll feel about this comparison. Have you ever heard of the campaign "Keep Austin Weird"?
Yes, I went there. 3 years ago. They have a lot of cool vintage shops and strange stuff in downtown and food trucks and I love Austin, and I love their slogan.
I love the vibe of let's keep our place, and let's not let it get the same as everywhere else.
Exactly. Yeah. I will say, the first year we introduced Fusion, it raised eyebrows. People were like, "What in the world are they doing? This is, don't you know?" And Stonington Borough, no less. So there were some folks that, when I was meeting with the fire marshal and the police and various authorities that are required to inspect the site, because we get about 300 to 400 people at this event. It's fun. They weren't too sure, but we made believers out of all of them, and now they attend, and you get some awesome pictures. And like I said, we use local models. So if you're watching and you're thinking that sounds really cool, and you want to get your body painted, give us a shout at the chamber. We do have a list going already. The artists get to pick. When I say pick, they pick based on like if they want a male or a female. Sometimes depending on what design they're doing, they want a specific body size or type. So some of the artists also bring their own model, someone that's a friend or family member that they're comfortable working with. Some have brought the same model every single year. But these artists are coming from Portsmouth, Rhode Island, all the way up to Central Connecticut. And this is a fun night for them to collaborate and work together too.
Well, this is so cool. Now, say again when this is happening.
October 22nd. It starts at 7:00. Tickets are $30 in advance. That's what I recommend. They're $40 at the door. So buy them in advance. For $30, you're getting your food samplings, your beverage samplings. You're getting 2.5 hours with sugar. So you'll be dancing your butt off on the dance floor with me and everyone else. And you get this incredible art show of the body painting. Plus, you might see something you love in the Velvet Mill with all the talented folks they have there.
Oh, that is so cool. All right. Well, check that out. Fusion at the Velvet Mill. Keep Ocean community weird.
Or I love it. Or at least fun or edgy, Well, let's go with edgy.
Keep it edgy. All right. Well, another thing coming up is the Athena Award. It's being awarded by the Chamber, as I understand it. Tell us a little bit about what's going on with the Athena Award and what it is.
Sure. So the Athena Award is an internationally recognized awards program that's celebrated in over 400 communities globally. Okay. And that was the last time I even looked at what the number was up to, which was about a year and a half ago, because we didn't do it last year due to COVID, unfortunately. But what we do here as one of the licensed partners as part of the Athena family is we ask the public to nominate individuals from this region who have helped women achieve leadership roles. And that can be done through a variety of ways. Maybe they've created jobs for them. Maybe they've mentored them. There's lots of ways that you can support the advancement of women. And so over the years, 17 now that we've been doing this event, we've had a myriad of professionals nominated. And we come together as a community. We tell the stories of these folks, whether they're male or female, does not matter. But we tell what they're doing to pass it on, to help somebody else get promoted, to help somebody else expand their skill set or improve their life or get a better opportunity or what have you. Some people have volunteered going into women's prisons and doing things, teaching them. People have volunteered in women's health areas. There's just been such a diverse way that people have made a positive difference, and it has affected women. So in the past, we always had somewhere between 5 and 7 nominees for the award. We talked about all of them that night, and one would get named the Athena recipient. One would take home this incredible sculpture that's 14 inches tall, made of bronze, hand sculpted with a Swarovski crystal and their name engraved on it. Very, very emotional night. All the nominees are treated like rock stars, as they should be, but one gets this added honor, if you will. When we couldn't have the event last year due to COVID, like most people and most organizations, we took a pause. We reflected. We looked at the way we had been doing things for years, and we said, you know what? This is a good time to maybe retool the program, and not for any reason, because we sell out every year. It's not that we needed to do it. It's we thought it was the right thing. Because what if someone was nominated for the Athena Award 15 years ago and they came to the event, we recognized them, they didn't get the sculpture that somebody else might have edged them out slightly with their community service. And now all these years later, out there doing their thing, they could be contributing to the community in many other ways. And so it seemed unfair to kind of do, you had your chance and now it's on to somebody else. And when you think about 17 years, recognizing 5 to 7 people every year, that's a lot of people we've recognized. We wanted to open it up so that even if someone was nominated as far back as year 1, they could be recognized in the future and not, held back because someone had already thought to nominate them in the past. So this year we received several nominations and we picked one honoree from the pile of nominations that came in. The others who were nominated and were not picked don't even know they were nominated. They'll never have hurt feelings. They'll never be disappointed. They can be nominated again next year if somebody wants to do that. But we picked as a committee the strongest candidate based on the criteria. And the criteria is threefold. 1, you have to have demonstrated that you've excelled in your own career or profession. 2, you have to have demonstrated an investment in the welfare of helping other women achieve leadership roles. And thirdly, you have to have extensive community service to this region. You have to be volunteering, donating your time, donating your resources. The one individual who met that criteria far greater than any of the other wonderful people nominated was Suzette Tibbetts. And Suzette is with Simply Majestic. It's a jewelry company in Mystic. And she has volunteered forever in this region. Are you familiar with her, Michael?
No, I'm not.
Wow. Well, you're going to learn a lot about her this year. She is a dynamo. She's been on the board of the aquarium, of the Mystic Chamber of Commerce, of the hospital, of the PNC, the Public Neighborhood Center, and probably about 12 other organizations where she cycled through, shared her expertise, her passion, her love. She also seeks out women and encourages them to run for political office, and then supports them through that journey and acts as a mentor to them. She's helped a young lady start up a nonprofit called Sophia Sees Hope, and she mentored Laura Manfrey in that journey. She's mentored Sergio Franchi's widow, Eva Franchi, for all the years that she was running the concert on her estate over in Stonington. And the list goes on and on. There were people on the Athena committee who, when they saw Suzette's nomination, said, "Oh my God, how is it that she was never nominated before?" And she never was. And they gave their own examples of how Suzette had touched their lives. These were people on the judges committee that were saying, hands down, she's the one. She helped me, and here's how. So it was a resounding, unanimous, she's our gal. And as humble as she is, and when we showed up to surprise her with flowers, she was like, "Oh, what are you doing to me?" Because she likes to do what she does behind the scenes, and she's uncomfortable getting all the praise heaped on her, even though she has won numerous awards, deservedly so. But we're going to honor her November 2nd, Lake of Isles, Suzette Tibbetts, and you're all invited to come.
Congratulations, Suzette Tibbetts. It sounds, I'm so ashamed to have just been learning about her now. It sounds like she's quite a tour de force, and I'm so glad. So glad that she's being honored. This award is such a wonderful idea. It reminds me a little bit of the nomination process, like a local Nobel Peace Prize, but for advancing women.
There you go. I think very fair. I think that's a very fair assessment. The other nice thing about the event is we, the Ocean Community Chamber, we have a foundation. We give out thousands of dollars in scholarships that night. So local youth from Stonington and Westerly can apply. Those applications are going to the guidance departments on Tuesday of next week. And there's about 8 scholarships. The minimum is $500 for 2 of them. All the rest are $1,000 or more. And students can apply for multiple scholarships. And there's different committees that make the decision on who gets those. For example, the Falguni Hauser Scholarship is named after Falguni Hauser, who passed prematurely about 8 years ago. Her family sells prints of her artwork every year at the Virtue Art Show. And the proceeds go into this scholarship fund so that the family members can honor Fal's life by picking a student who shares some of the similar interests that Fal did in her life. And they give money away, and that keeps Fal's memory alive. And we have several other very touching memorial scholarships like that allow the legacy to continue for a loved one, and also simultaneously help our students pursue their careers and their educational goals.
Wow, this sounds like such a beautiful, beautiful event.
Very emotional, like
very emotional.
A lot of tears at the Athena. It's high. Oh, it's uplifting and powerful and emotional.
Oh, that's fantastic. You mentioned the award is a sculpture. What is it a sculpture of?
Oh, it's in my office and I'm looking at it, but I'd have to duck away from the camera to show it to you. So it's actually a sculpture of the female form with her arms raised up to symbolize that she's reaching out to others, to help others. And at the top of her arms is a small Swarovski crystal about the size of maybe a quarter in diameter to represent like a globe. And it has multi-facets on the crystal to represent the multifaceted nature of the strength of the Athena Award nominee themselves, and all the facets of their personality, and the fact that they've resonated their strength and their love throughout the community, the way that crystal will resonate the beautiful colors that it does. So it's very meaningful. It's very beautiful. The base will be engraved with Suzette's name on it. If you are watching this and you're curious about what the award looks like, or just about the award in general, it has a designated website that you can go to, athenaaward.org or .com. I think it's .org. But if it's not .org, try .com. We haven't looked at it in a year and a half, so I'm a little rusty. But we did upload Suzette's profile to it just this week, and we're waiting for her headshot to come. But you'll see the photos and names of past award recipients and learn a little bit about the history of the award and what we're doing.
Oh my goodness. I'm so glad I asked that question because it sounds like such a beautiful award. Not just in terms of the emotion invoked, but also just a beautiful piece of art.
Oh, he's so good. He's so good. Yeah.
Thank you, Ben. Look at this.
He's got
Alrighty.
the site. There's the award. There's some pictures of past recipients holding the award and, just being ecstatic. So, yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. I got a plane flying low overhead.
On the phone, so every now and then you see me reaching up on my camera. That's to swipe away another text that people that don't realize I'm live with you right now.
Well, I wanted to also, this is something I'm really excited about. It's something that you talked about the last time you were with us, the lobster trap tree. I'm getting I'm getting one on there. I'm so excited for it. Tell us a little bit about this because it is such it's very much in the vibe of the Keep Westerly or Keep the Ocean Community
funky, edgy.
Yeah. Let's talk about this lobster trap tree.
All right. Well, last time we talked, it was an idea that had, just started and I was getting a lot of excitement for it. Now this thing is full blown. It's not an infant. It's, going off to college. We have 325 brand new lobster traps that are made of green wire that we purchased. And we're going to pile them in the shape of a tree. Picture a teepee made of lobster traps. There'll be a door that you can enter. So you'll be in the middle of the teepee looking around, and it'll be lit up with Christmas lights on the outside. But more importantly than the lights that will make it beautiful at night is what you'll see during the day that will adorn every single lobster trap. So I've got a couple examples so that you can see. This is a buoy. It's a lobster buoy, and this has been hand painted by Raphael Limo, who is a Stonington artist. He's actually from Pawcatuck. And this is an actual incredibly accurate painting of Mal Macon's dog. He picked Raphael as his artist, and Raphael created this buoy. And this will be clear coated. A knot will be put on the bottom as well as rope on the top. And this will be put on the lobster trap tree, which will be on display in Stonington Borough for 6 weeks, starting on the Saturday after Thanksgiving. And we have over 125 artists from all over Rhode Island and Connecticut that have been spending their time creating these absolutely stunningly beautiful buoys that really are telling a story about either the business that sponsored them or the family that sponsored them. And they're just exquisite. So this one here is sponsored obviously by Dragonfly Equestrian Center. And here's just a third one just to give you an idea where they've taken some of the signage or the logo of a particular business and incorporated it into the buoy. Acrylic painted by local artists and super special. And you're going to love yours when it's done with.
I'm very excited for mine, especially after seeing those three. I've seen some of the ones on the website. That's what got me so excited. And now seeing them, I don't know, just seeing them there 3D in person, it made me even more excited. It's such a cool idea. Could you remind us where it came from?
Yes, I stole it. You know that phrase R&D, which is in most things you think research and development. In chamber world, it's rip off and duplicate. Okay. And so my R&D was, I was visiting a family friend in Gloucester, Mass. 2 years ago, and I was walking through the downtown, patronizing and checking things out as I do when I'm in other communities. But I'm never really off duty. I always have my wheels turning. And I came around the corner in the middle of the downtown in Gloucester and saw this magnificent 30-foot tall art installation that was a lobster trap tree. And it was covered with colorful buoys that were smaller than ours in size, and all of them were hand painted by children. So they were cute. They were adorable. And I took a bunch of pictures. I walked inside the tree. I stood out, and probably within about 5 minutes, I was standing there, and everyone around me was like, oh God, here she goes. I said, I'm doing this. I'm doing this back our area. Like, we have to. Stonington is the last Connecticut commercial fishing village. We're known for lobsters. Why don't we have one of these? And it was the first time I had ever seen a tree like this. And then I just became obsessed. That night I went online. I tried to find out who made it. How long has it been up? It's by a group called Cape Ann Arts. It's been up for 22 years. It started very small, and then each year they bought more traps and built it. So now it's the size that you see, 325 lobster traps. It took them 22 years to get there. We're going to do that in 1 year. We already have every one of our 325 traps sponsored. Each trap has the painted buoy to go with it to thank and recognize the sponsor. That becomes their property. Some of our buoys were hand painted by artists who are contributing their work to an auction on February 4th. Some of the buoys will be available for auction. So if you fall in love with one of them, when you look at the website where they are all showcased, the website being lobstertraptree.com. Yes, we got it. And you can see all the buoys that have been painted so far, learn all about the events that are taking place. We have a tree lighting ceremony, and we still have 2 buoy workshops coming up. And these are for Town of Stonington children, grades 1 through 12. You can have 1 child per family, okay? You can't have 3 kids from the same family. We have room for 40 children to paint a buoy at no charge. They have to be residents of Stonington. Why? Because the town of Stonington paid for that. They paid for these workshop programs where we're going to provide the buoys, the paints, the instruction, the encouragement. And then these families will have their buoy on the tree this very first year with all these talented professional artists from all over Rhode Island and Connecticut. And then they'll own their buoy when the tree comes down. We'll get it back to them. How awesome is that?
It is so cool. I'm very excited for this. I can't wait to see it in person. When I first, a little while after having you on, we advertised the lobstertraptree.com again.
Mm-hmm.
And I said to Ben, can you believe that for our project, we got lobstertraptree.com? And he said, yes, I can believe it.
I was so psyched. I was so psyched. So as it turns out, I found that there's more than 15 lobster trap trees in New England alone. There's some in Florida, but just in New England, like Kennebunkport, Portland, Maine, there's a bunch. Block Island does one. We are the only tree that is using professional artists for buoys. This is an expensive endeavor. The tree itself, all in for traps, buoys, lights, permits, everything will be over $30,000. Wow. It's crazy. But fortunately, we live in a fun, funky, cool community where they embrace my ideas that I want to bring here. And when you look at the website, you'll see we've gotten a lot of sponsors and people are excited about it. So we're hoping that for the 6 weeks that this tree is up, all the artists who are from everywhere come to obviously see the tree, see their work, take a picture, and that they're going to then support the businesses that are right around the corner in Stonington Borough. Because what happens is once summer's over and then fall sort of wanes off, the streets kind of get quiet in the borough. People forget that there's this charming little village there with year-round restaurants and shops that are really relying on the support of people for those other 6-7 months of the year. We're hoping that this is an attraction that's going to bring some folks to take pictures, to explore, that it will become an annual event, that we'll have different buoys next year and different people involved. Because now we'll own the lobster traps, 325 of them. Jesse had to order a 40 cubic foot container coming for next week so that we can store the lobster traps in the container and use them year after year. Who would have thought?
Oh boy. Well, I had another airplane going. There's a lot of airplanes today.
Busy day. Great day to fly.
Oh, I'm so excited for that. You not only ripped off and duplicated, but you've enhanced. We have
Yes.
that's the key. When someone comes around and rips off you, the next iteration will be of an enhancement.
Yeah, they can put their own spin on it. This was our spin, was to involve the businesses, to involve the artists that had been so isolated throughout COVID. There were no gallery shows, there were no art shows, there was nothing like that where artists could converge together and have a display of their work together and even, get to know one another. We've been running around since May, dropping off buoys to invited artists and promoting their work on the website. And some of the artists have already gotten paid commission jobs just from their buoys being on our website. That makes me ecstatic. Someone got hired to do a mural, and someone else got hired to do 2 individual projects for someone. So fantastic. It's all part of keeping the economy going and growing.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for putting in all the work on that. There's one last thing I wanted to ask you about. It's something that meant a lot to us last year because it just was wonderful for my kids to see. The Holiday Light Parade. Is that going to be happening again?
Well, you say last year. We didn't do it in 2020.
Sorry, the year before that.
We did it in 2019 as the grand finale, if you will, to the Westerly 350th anniversary celebration.
Okay.
So, yes, we are attempting to resurrect that event because thousands came, everybody enjoyed, and it was just great fun for all and a huge boost of patronage to our downtown business community again. So that event is scheduled to take place on Sunday, December 12th. And we'll start it in the north end of Westerly. It'll come up through town, come down High Street, cross over by the Washington Trust Company, and then disperse once it gets past where the Chamber billboard is on Main Street and where the state boat launch area. That's where it will end. So we are looking for community groups, businesses, even families that want to decorate vehicles, cars, trucks, boats, anything. Trip it out in lights. Put some inflatable holiday, themed characters on it, decorate your car, and come and participate in the parade. We do have a registration form because there are police expenses related to this event, which are in the thousands. There is a registration fee of $30 to help us with that. And I think right now we've got about 10 or 12 groups that have filled out the registration form and have said they're definitely participating. Obviously, we want to see that number get up to 50 or more. So I hope people will put their creative thinking caps on, get themselves in a festive holiday spirit, and will either come to the event or go even further. Volunteer with us, help us decorate some floats, help us put a float together, or do your own float for your company.
So cool. Now, what if someone has an idea for a float? Where would they go to fill out this registration form?
They can contact the Chamber, 401-596-7761. We've put it in the Westerly Sun a couple of times. Okay. I'm not sure if it's on our website yet. If not, we'll get it up this week. But we can certainly email it or mail it off to somebody.
So many wonderful things coming back. This is one of them, and so many others that we talked about here today. Well, Lisa, thank you so much for joining us. I've run out of my questions. Is there anything you'd like to talk about before we let you go?
I guess I would just give maybe a little plug. There's an event tomorrow at the Ocean House. Not tomorrow, my goodness. It's next week, next Saturday at the Ocean House, where our pop-up book engineer, Bruce Foster, who worked with me to create both the Westerly and the Stonington pop-up books. He's from Texas, not far from Austin, and he's flying in. He's spending a week and a half in the Rhode Island, Connecticut area. He's going to be staying at the Ocean House a 3-day period, and he's teaching a couple workshops. So he will teach people how to create a pop-up card. And so over a 3-hour workshop for just $25, you can meet Bruce. He'll autograph your pop-up book if you like, and you'll be in a workshop with me and a bunch of other people in the drawing room at the Ocean House, and you'll learn this unusual technique of paper art and engineering, and then you'll have the skill yourself to create a pop-up. Kind of cool.
That's super cool. My daughter has that pop-up book from the 350th, I think is when. Yeah. That is super cool. All right.
And if you don't want to learn how to make a card, but you just want to meet Bruce or get his autograph or learn how either of those books was put together, on the 12th, which is a Sunday at 4:00, we're going to be at the Mystic Luxury Cinema, and Bruce, the artist Susan Scala, and myself will have a program called The Making of the Pop-Up Book of Stonington. And we have a PowerPoint display and some behind the scenes information about how that project progressed. And again, that's free and open to the public.
Wow, that is so cool. That's over at the Mystic Cinema, did you say?
The Mystic Luxury Cinema. Very comfortable. We'll be in one of those rooms with their huge, comfortable reclining leather chairs.
Nice.
The program will be about a half hour long, and there'll be refreshments. It'll be a good time.
That sounds wonderful. You've told us about so many wonderful things here today. If any people are interested, we'll try to put as many links as we can, or just rewind and watch it again. But Lisa, thank you so much for joining us this morning. It's always wonderful to have you.
You are welcome. It was my pleasure, and I look forward to talking to you again soon, Michael.
All righty. You take care. Well, everyone, thank you so much for spending your morning with us. This has been a great morning with Lisa. I don't have too much else to say, but I did want to just say how much I love our little town here. I'm so glad we have folks like Lisa working hard to make it work. Be good to each other. Be good to yourself. Be good to Westerly. Take care.